What's up everybody, D-Man back. Welcome to a brand new video, and today we're going to be doing my review for the new Playmates Kong with Beast Glove for Godzilla X Kong The New Empire, our very first Godzilla X Kong figure unboxing. Let's do it. I figured we'd start out with Kong. I haven't been able to find many of these Playmates figures. They are selling really quickly and then they're being scalped for like literally $100 online, but I figured we'll start with Kong because there's probably the least to unpack with him because the least has changed. Starting out, I just want to say, oh my gosh, I love the box art. I think the pink and the purple and the blues look really good on it. I also think the yellows contrast really well. I think the packaging overall is really solid. It's got these really cool lightning bolts on it. It's got these cool crystals on it that I think is neat. Crystals wrap all the way on the inside as well. And then on the front of the box, they've got this really beautiful render of the new Godzilla and the new Kong. This is probably one of the best looks of the new Godzilla that we have, and then the new Kong's looking pretty sweet too. There's the side with all the crystals, and then on the other side, we've got the same render of Godzilla and Kong, and actually, I think that Godzilla looks better here than he does in the trailer. I do like that they've amplified the chest scars left by Godzilla. That's pretty cool. That seems actually more exaggerated than it is in the movie. And then on the back of the box, they've got this really nice picture of Kong standing amongst these purple crystals, and then you've got a bit of a description as well as the lineup of the other figures. And so far, like I said, I've really only been able to find this Godzilla. At some point, hopefully I'll get more. Reading the back of the box here, it says Godzilla and Kong return in the all-new adventure, pitting the almighty Kong and the fearsome Godzilla against the colossal undiscovered threat hidden within our world, challenging their very existence and our own. A pretty standard plot synopsis for this movie. That's nothing we haven't heard for like over a year now. Fully articulated and posable, Kong with Beast Glove. Beast Glove standing for Bioenhanced Anatomic Seismic Thunder Glove. Oh my. Armed with his ancestral axe and a prototype battle gauntlet, this enhances his earth-shattering primal strength. Kong roars into battle, packing a meteor impact with every punch. And it also comes with the Biomimic HEAV. They were really overkill with that packaging. That was really difficult to get this guy out, but we've got Kong and the HEAV. The in-hand feels actually really nice. So here's the Biomimic HEAV, and it's a lot larger than it looks like it's gonna be in the movie, but that's fine. Of course, I don't expect the Playmates ones to be to scale, and I'm totally okay with that because it's got a really unique design, and so this does a really good job of highlighting that. Why it's called the Biomimic HEAV, I'm not entirely sure, but I have a feeling it's going to be because it can mimic living things in one way or another, and we see a little bit of that in the trailer as I think it can grow arms. I'm gonna assume that's what these extra things on the back are for, is so that it can be repurposed, because it looks like it's flying with arms in the trailer, so it might be able to like grow hands to either defend itself or maybe to pick things up and to be a bit more of a versatile tool, but it's a pretty neat design. It's a little too Guardians of the Galaxy for me. I personally was into the very sleek Super X styled HEAVs of the last movie. As a toy, it looks cooler, which is probably the point. That's probably why they made the changes they did, because as a toy, this is definitively a cooler toy than the original HEAV. There's no painted window on this one like there was on the original HEAV. The original one was more well sculpted. Original one has better detailing, new one just has a bigger, bolder design, but they're about the same size. Here's Kong with the Beast Glove. First of all, the packaging tells you he's armed with the axe and then the figure isn't, so I get that Kong's probably not going to be wielding the Beast Glove and the axe at the same time, at least not if the trailer is anything for us to go on. I don't like the Beast Glove. I think it's not a great name, first of all. I think that's very cheesy. I just don't think it's terribly interesting to give Kong a metal gauntlet to fight with. I think it's more interesting when he is a monster that can fight as a monster. They've executed the toy pretty well. He's got a nice range of motion to him. Overall, the sculpting is pretty nice, and I am decently impressed with this figure. There's a lot to like about it. I think the sculpt is actually very nice. I think Kong looks really good from the front. I really appreciate the detailing. They've actually taken the extra effort to make the chest more noticeable, more prominent, running down through the abs before it cuts off into the fur. It does wind up with this weird sliced line straight through his belly. That's a little ugly. The front of Kong's actually very well done. There is this weird sliced gash on Kong's right leg that I'm wondering if that's going to be painted in on a later variant of the toy to make it look like blood or a scar or something. Like maybe that's battle damage he takes in the movie, or maybe they were gonna put a battle damage piece on him and then they didn't. Certainly not sad to see the battle damage pieces go. I always thought they were distracting and ugly, and I'm glad that this one doesn't have them. There's this slice into his left arm where it looks like the fur's all sliced away, and I'm wondering if on a later variation of this toy they're gonna have those painted in red and make them a little bloodier. The chest looks pretty solid. Moving up through the body, it looks really nice. Onto the arms look really nice. I think the fur overall looks pretty solid for a children's toy. The face isn't the best. It doesn't really capture the likeness of the MonsterVerse Kong. Arguably, it captures the likeness a little better than the previous release they did, which also didn't capture the likeness of the MonsterVerse Kong. But I do think it's a pretty nice face sculpt. I like that they've given him a much more pronounced beard here. I like that it gives him this very fearsome look. Onto the back of Kong, he's actually very well sculpted with a lot of good fur detailing and muscle detailing all throughout the back. His butt is looking phenomenal as always. This figure obviously is there for the Beast Glove, and the Beast Glove is very well handled. It's got this nice band wrapping around the top of his forearm, and then you get into the main gauntlet itself. It's got this nice metallic gear that makes it feel truly like a real piece that would allow him to bend his elbow. Onto the wrist part, it looks really solid. There's actually a lot of really great detailing in it, and it feels a lot like construction material, and it's looking really good, especially onto the hand and the fingers. Even from the side angle, it looks really solid, and I like that they've added the band wrapping around into the hand where Kong's holding on to it, and I like that they've given the cast portion of it on the bottom where it straps on underneath his arm as well. This figure doesn't impress me in the paint job, however, because the Beast Glove hasn't been painted very well overall. Yes, the yellow looks really nice. I do think that looks really good. I like that they've added these silver pieces on the joints. I like that they've painted the letters onto it. That looks really solid, but they didn't paint the underneath of it at all. It just completely blends in with his fur, and his fur is just overall this very dull matte grayish black, and I don't understand it. Kong in the movie is still a brown furred Kong, it's just that his fur is starting to gray, so he's losing a bit of that saturation. I think they could have made it look a little more brown personally. This looks a little too black to me, and Kong just doesn't look like this in the screenshots we've seen of the movie. The mouth looks pretty solid with the pink, the teeth look pretty decent with them being white. Some of the teeth on mine aren't painted to their fullest. You can see chips in the teeth where the gum color is shining through underneath. And then all of the eyes on the Kongs at the store were painted, so they're just completely pointing in opposite directions like a chameleon. The reason I went with this one is because there was lots of quality control issues with the scarring at the store, so if you're gonna buy it, keep an eye out for the scars. The chest scars look really nice. I really appreciate the old scars being there, and then the new ones on top, which don't line up entirely with the ones that Godzilla leaves in GVK, but I'll give that a pass because I haven't seen the movie yet, so I don't know how accurate that is. There's also this metallic joint that is matching the one on the top that is silver on top and not on the bottom. That's a fairly easy thing you could have carried over to the bottom. As far as articulation goes, it can articulate quite a lot. The arms have a lot of mobility, as do the legs, which is a staple for the Playmates Kongs so far. If my counting is correct, I believe there's 14 points of articulation because some of these joints are double jointed where they can go out and then they can go up to the side. So I think there's a double joint in a lot of these where it's a ball joint and a hinge. While one hand can freely move and spin on its own, the arm with the Beast Glove, Kong's right arm, which poor guy, he's right-handed and he's gonna have his right arm, I think, broken, which is why he winds up in this. That sucks for him, but he can't twist his arm at all. It's locked into the Beast Glove, which is fine. I'm okay with that because the Beast Gauntlet looks pretty decent. They've also done a pretty good job here eliminating the overly hunched shouldered look of the previous Kongs, which I was constantly critiquing. Speaking of those previous Kongs, it's time for the figure comparison. I wanted to take a look at the original Godzilla vs. Kong with the axe, and they look very different. I'm so glad that Playmates went with a brand new sculpt. It's actually, I think, slightly taller as well. I'm very glad that they went with a brand new sculpt. It is a noticeable color difference from one to the next. They look very different and they feel very different. The Godzilla vs. Kong one is actually a lot softer of a plastic, but that's okay. This one feels very sturdy and weighty, and not in a bad way, where it's the kind of hard plastic that'll shatter and explode. It doesn't have quite as good of an articulated range as the Godzilla vs. Kong one did, and I do prefer the axe over the Beast Glove, but that ultimately comes down to my preference of I like the axe better than the Beast Glove from a conceptual standpoint in the movie as well. There's the new Kong with the axe and the Beast Glove. It can be done. Unfortunately, I'm not able to fit the axe into the hand with the Beast Glove. It's also nice because it means Playmates has given us a Kong from every single MonsterVerse movie now. Of course, here's the second generation of their Kong Skull Island figure, which was, again, a brand new sculpt in and of itself and looks pretty solid. Although overall, I'd probably still give my favorite to the Kong Skull Island one other than the paint job, which I don't love. And finally, here's Kong with his buddy Godzilla. This is, of course, the Playmates Godzilla vs. Kong Godzilla 2021. A very solid mashup. They should be friends, but for me, they will always be enemies. Annihilate Godzilla using our earthquake shattering, causing thunder fist. Team Kong for life. Have I mentioned that part yet? So there's the brand new Playmates Godzilla X Kong, the new Empire Kong with Beast Glove. Pretty solid figure. I like the in-hand feel of it. I think the sculpt is pretty solid. The paint job didn't impress me too much. And I guess it's nice that it came with an accessory, which is this new HEAV. Overall, I'm gonna give Kong with the Beast Glove an 8 out of 10. I think you could have done better on the paint job, and there's probably a way to improve the articulation at a lower cost as well, but I think they did a really good job with what they were given, and I am overall pretty satisfied with it. Does anybody else have this? I'd love to hear what you think of it. If you do, comment that down below. Thank you guys all for watching. I want to give a huge thank you to my patrons over on Patreon. If you want to support the Patreon, you can use the link in the description below. It's through the support of the Patreon that I can continue to make videos like this for you guys. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. I will see you guys next time for the next one. D-Man out.